Welcome to the Bend Don't Break podcast. We are powered by The Source, Ben's locally owned media company and weekly newspaper. This podcast is our eddy in the rushing waters of local journalism. We are glad that you're taking some of your time to listen to us chat with the people who shape our local community. Support us through our member program at bensource.com.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, RE/MAX Key Properties, a family-owned full-service real estate brokerage specializing in residential, luxury, commercial, new construction, and ranch and land properties. Their new state-of-the-art facility at 42 Greenwood Avenue is a modern, collaborative space and the new home of the Bend Don't Break podcast recording studio.
I'm Aaron Schweitzer, publisher of The Source and producer of this fine Bend Don't Break podcast. Today with me, we have Gabe Charalambides. He is the founder of Odyssey, one of the first legal psilocybin retreat centers in the United States. He is a former aerospace engineer. Gabe discovered meditation and Buddhist philosophy more than 15 years ago, and early psychedelic experiences sparked a lasting fascination with psychological well-being. After a decade in the aerospace world, he decided to focus on mental health and in 2023 launched Odyssey, to bring science-based, transformative psilocybin experiences to others. Gabe holds an MS in aeronautics and astronautics and an MBA from Stanford University. Gabe, thanks for being here.
Yeah, glad to be here. And for what it's worth, I didn't even know astronautics was a word before I started that degree.
Yeah, it was. It almost got me there, but I saw it. So, well, Gabe, thanks for spending the time. You're not actually a resident of Bend, but you operate one of the retreat centers here. How did you come to discover Bend? Why Bend?
Yeah. So there's I guess that's one part of the broader story.
Yeah.
But why? I would live here in a heartbeat. My partner's job is keeping us in California for now, but
okay.
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
I'd love to. Yeah, I love it up here. I mean, the short answer is why the business has to be in Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon is the only state in the whole country that we can do this. Like, it's the first place that you can have a legal guided psilocybin experience.
Yeah.
And so once I learned that, I was like, all right, Oregon. And then I'd heard all these incredible things about Bend, and then I came and visited. This was a number of years. This was 2022, I believe, when I had my first visit. And then fell in love quickly. I'm a very outdoorsy person, and all the things in Bend were appealing. Came here, fell in love, and I was like, it's got to be Bend.
Yeah. Well, I've seen photos of your retreat center. I prior to the podcast, Gabe had sent a incredible image you captured on one of those like pink perfect nights. Pretty amazing, but it's a beautiful setting. It
is. Yeah, I'm super fortunate. I just got to know this guy in town who owns it.
Uh-huh.
And we've just really hit it off, and we get to use it for our retreats. It's and there's a whole story there. It was actually a place that I visited. I did this big road trip around Oregon in 2022, looking at potential properties. Yeah, and that property was on the market then, but the current owner didn't have it then. And I remember seeing that and thinking like, oh man, like this is one, definitely cannot afford this, but like it evokes this sense of awe and wonder like as soon as you step in. And I'm like, well, if only we could find a place that like evokes that feeling. And then sort of forgot about it for a couple of years, and then just serendipitously got an intro to this new owner. Yeah. And then when I saw photos of it, I was like, I recognize this place. And it turns out it was from. So it's like a very special place.
Trippy.
Trippy. I don't know. It's not. It's definitely not. It's like and I think the only reason I hesitate with that is like, Odyssey is a very intentionally not psychedelic. Yeah. We're a non-psychedelic business, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. I'll go with awe-inspiring.
Well, why don't you talk a little bit about Odyssey?
Yeah, so...
I meant Odyssey, it was trippy that you went back and this was the same house.
Yeah, that was trippy.
Not that incredible patio looking at the at the mountains.
I can accept that. That was trippy.
Qualification.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
Well, tell me about Odyssey. So the company, I mean, you have a retreat here, but you're a larger company than that.
Yeah.
So what does Odyssey do?
Yeah, and in some sense, it harkens back to like my prior career was I was an aerospace engineer, as you mentioned. And then I can go into the personal story if it makes sense, but like sort of a long personal story for why I'm interested in mental health and psychedelics. And we can come back to that. But in 2019, I was volunteering at a psychedelic retreat center in the Netherlands, which was like one of the few countries in the world that you can do this legally. And so there were no psychedelic retreat centers in the US.
Yeah.
And so I was volunteering there as part of a year of traveling, exploring what else could I do aside from aerospace.
Yeah.
Kind of have an adventurous spirit that wants to explore. And that was like a mini
Because
sabbatical.
aerospace was way too boring.
It was way,
I imagine, right?
yeah. And I finally thought of a way to weave that chapter to this chapter that I'll save for a mic drop moment when it's appropriate.
Yeah. We'll go back.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep losing my thread, Aaron.
Well, tell me a little. Why don't we move back and like because it is pretty crazy that you're in aerospace. You know, you're going to school for aerospace. Huge investment on your part in time and resources to achieve that. And why not stick with it? Or what was that journey like?
Yeah. I enjoy. I mean, I knew when I was in middle school that I was an engineer.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you know what? I like math and science. That's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
I'm not good at these other things. Like this just works with my brain.
Yeah.
My dad's an engineer, but like there's sort of it like runs in the family. My brain is built that way.
Yeah.
So
my dad was an engineer, and his dad was an engineer. And
really,
I didn't get that brain.
You didn't get that brain. You got the other one. Yeah. And so it was my path for a while was clear. I was like, I'm going to do engineering. I did. I enjoyed it. I loved like the problem solving, the puzzle aspect, the quantifiability, like everything about it. And I still like that. But I was never a kid that like dreamed about going to space, being an astronaut, being, a pilot or anything. I was never like truly passionate about it. I was very fascinated. I did enjoy it. And when I was 29, it wasn't totally clear that I was not going to come back.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me explore what else is out there. And then meanwhile, I had some early formative experiences with psychedelics. I also discovered Buddhism, like Buddhist philosophy when I was 20. And as someone who's grown up with a fair amount of anxiety, found that to be like really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And also like so interesting. It's like predicated on, instead of like, you can basically really control your well-being, not necessarily by always trying to control the external world and what you're doing, but by changing how you relate to it, by changing how you perceive it. And Buddhist philosophy kind of presents some tenets around what causes human suffering.
Yeah.
And it was also based on just see if these things are true in your life. And if not, don't use them. And if do, then maybe follow more. And I found them to be very, very true. And
it's pretty fortunate to have that kind of enlightenment at 29. I mean,
20. I was in.
At 20. Yeah, because I'm 59 and I still haven't had that moment yet.
Yeah, I was actually.
I'm still trying to control the external world as much as I can.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a daily struggle.
Right.
So, some days I thought throughout my 20s I was becoming steadily more enlightened.
Yeah.
And then I started this business, and then I realized my life just wasn't hard enough. And then now I'm a neurotic mess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just cultivated this love of mental health and psychology and philosophy. And then I had some more psychedelic experiences, which also. Yeah, they felt very much part and parcel with my meditation practice. And basically this thing became what I was most genuinely interested in.
Okay.
And so I found myself like reading psychedelic research papers for fun on the weekends. And when I was considering my PhD in aeronautics and astronautics, I was zoned out so much. I was like, I just didn't care that much. And then
Stanford professors probably don't appreciate that.
I think I drove. They were very gracious. I think I drove one of them a little bit frustrating with my indecision over whether or not I should do my PhD. And then just juxtaposing that with like literally spending a Saturday annotating a research paper in psychedelics for fun. I was like, oh, I think this is what it feels like to actually be passionate about something. In 29, I was like, okay, year off, explore what else is out there. I'm going to go volunteer here for fun, just because it's like I want to be involved. I want to see what this is all about, and that ended up being a very formative experience. Because by the end of that, I was a guest trip sitter for 40 to 50 people or so as part of these retreats.
So there would be that many people tripping at that time, and you would be just making sure they were well.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And then we can get into like what does it mean
I need
to
a
guide?
video of that. I need a video.
It is, and they did it as part of a group, so it'd be like 3 groups of 15.
Wow.
And
that is my worst trip nightmare right there. 3 groups of 15 and a sitter.
It was what we had. I mean, and the retreat center that I was at, I think they really did a good job of it. But they had a ratio of for every 2 guests, there was 1 facilitator.
Oh, okay.
So each weekend had 15 people.
Okay.
So this like all inclusive experience. And then during the journey, the medicine session, whatever you want to call it, psilocybin session, 15 people at a time with like eight facilitators. And I was, there was 2 lead facilitators, some support folks, and I was just like an extra warm body that could help people go to the bathroom effectively. But even there, and I'm like, as an aerospace engineer, I'm very scientific, overly rational, very skeptical by nature. I'm going to blame this on my engineeringness.
It's an odd mix.
It's
engineering and psychedelic.
I think that's why I'm somewhat
One's got a
different
lot of lines, one doesn't have a lot of
I do
lines.
miss the concreteness of the, I used to be in a world where there were answers, and now I'm in a world where maybe it depends.
There's no
maybe
equal sign. No equal sign.
There's no equal sign. That's a great way of putting it. But even and so kind of coming into this, like I went to that retreat center because that one in particular was partnering with Imperial College in London, who are a well-regarded research institution, and they were contributing to research. And I was like, like as someone who's like a cautious risk taker and wants to have this like deep experience myself, but like I don't want to do it in an environment that doesn't feel safe to me. Like science feels safe.
Right.
So I was like, that place felt safer to me. And again, they did a great job. I mean, they still had some facilitators who were, self-proclaimed energy healers. And then in the middle of these journeys would be like flicking energy off of people. I think the world is a very mysterious place. I don't know what's going on. Maybe some of that stuff is real.
Right.
I do have confidence that probably some of the people who call themselves energy healers, I don't know if it's all so valid, but I don't want to totally dismiss it because I don't know what's going on. But all I knew is that wasn't my vibe.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to a place that really felt safe and comfortable more as a Western person. So I knew then that if I ever started a business in the US, like related to psychedelics, that it would be very like science focused, more Western, still like honoring like the mystery and the beauty and all, because they really are like, they feel very sacred. These experiences feel very sacred. They feel very spiritual to a lot of folks, but there's a fine line between respecting and honoring that, and then also getting into like all the new age spirituality.
Right. Do you have to get certified? I mean, I know Oregon has some sort of certification process for this kind of thing. Did you have to go through that?
Well, I'm actually going through that myself to be a facilitator now, but to date, I haven't been one of our facilitators. So I manage a team of facilitators, and all of them are certified. And then Oregon's model, there's licensed facilities, so only particular buildings where you can do these experiences. Licensed facilitators, only certain individuals who can facilitate these experiences, and then licensed mushrooms, which have been tested in a lab. So it's like the most above board way you can be taking shrooms.
You're not just ripping them off the cow patties. And
no, this one. Maybe this one.
I think people want to know it's a little different than that.
Yeah. No, it's a nice balance, because in the research studies they use synthetic psilocybin, which I think is great too. But there's also something really nice about this being like, this is like it literally grows in the ground. Yeah. Like this is from the earth. And so it is natural. And the fact that there are these like naturally occurring mushrooms that have these like, I mean, truly incredible effects is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
What do you feel is the, I mean, it's been legal now for 2 years, 3 years?
June of 2023 was the first session. Yeah.
So we're right at 2 years. How do you feel the trend is going with regard to legalization? And I know everybody's watching Oregon, and there's other places that are proposing it and moving ahead. So maybe you could speak a little bit to that. For listeners.
I would say as a country, very positive. Yeah. Very positive. Yeah. And then also the current administration is a very like psychedelic friendly administration, and there's a lot of folks that are being appointed in key positions that have a lot of influence here who are very pro psychedelics. So I expect that over the coming, it might even happen sooner, but 2, 5, 10 years, there's going to be a wave, like a real, like we've been calling this whole period the psychedelic renaissance, but I also expect that, it's just going to go faster. So
Will
very
that
pro.
benefit you?
That's a complicated question.
Yeah.
I would say, and to answer kind of the previous one, Oregon, I think Oregon has done an excellent job. There are fewer people engaging in this in Oregon than sort of the industry thought.
Okay.
Like no one knew whether they're going to be, is the bottleneck going to be licensed facilitators? Are we going to have enough spaces to do this? Is there enough supply?
Yeah.
But the truth is like there's plenty of facilitators, plenty of service centers, and just not enough folks that either are aware of this or up for engaging in it right now. It's
Right.
there have been something like 10,000 sessions so far, which is not a small number, but when you're talking about 300 million folks in America, it's a relatively small number. So Oregon's market overall is struggling. There's a lot of places that are shutting down, like the governing body that are administering this, like they might need increased license fees to meet their budget. So it's like Oregon as a market is not doing the best. But as a country, I still feel very optimistic. And then Colorado just opened about a month ago.
Yeah,
so they're a couple years behind. And then New Mexico passed.
Okay.
New Mexico is another 2 years. So I feel very optimistic about that. And then for us, because we're just in these are called like the state models.
Okay.
Like each state who's like, let's approve this at a state basis.
Right.
Meanwhile, the FDA and psychedelic drug development companies are doing their own thing, totally different path. But right now we're just in the state models. And so if suddenly psilocybin became legal, I don't think that's going to happen. I think what you might see is a rescheduling of psilocybin. So I think it depends what legislative shifts are made as to whether or not it would be good for us. I mean, I have my... Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Do you have, I imagine then you have people from all over the country who are availing themselves of your services, coming to Oregon to do this kind of thing. It's not an Oregon, I mean, when it's legalized in Oregon, I think a lot of people think, well, Oregonians are going to enjoy these benefits, but you've got people probably coming from all over the place.
Yeah, it's really, we actually have, I think it's 40% come from the East Coast.
Okay.
So it's like 40% from the East, 30% from the West, and like 30% in between, roughly.
Okay.
So I think Oregon is still, if you look at any one individual state, we still have the most folks from Oregon.
Yeah.
But also keep in mind, it's basically everybody in America who's read How to Change Your Mind or heard of this Michael Pollan book. They've seen the docuseries. There's a lot of people who have been curious about this experience for years.
Yeah.
And they've just been waiting for like a safe, legal, like US based place that they can do this. And so people who would have been going to Jamaica or the Netherlands or somewhere else are now like, oh, actually, let's go to Oregon. So someone in Boston, it's still going to be appealing to come to Oregon.
Jamaica sounds like a pretty good destination.
It is. Yeah. But it does like, because these, it's important to not lose sight of the fact that these are intense experiences.
Yeah.
Like we encourage people to think of this almost as like a surgery. Of sort, and it feels scary. It feels scary to a lot of folks. So like the number of new variables, we want to minimize the number of like new things we're asking someone to do. We don't want to ask someone to travel to Jamaica for the first time, which also might feel a little bit scary.
Yeah, sure.
So the more safe we can make this feel, the better.
Yeah, Jamaica's a little scary as a place. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I had a great time there, but
Yeah,
you got to
it's a
have
little
your
scary.
wits about you.
Yeah.
It's not some place I'd want to be wandering around without a facilitator.
Yeah, you definitely, when you're on a mushroom experience, you definitely don't want to need to have your wits about you.
Right.
You want to be able to lay down and not worry about anything.
How, I don't know if this is even a quantifiable statistic, but how many people do you see who have had psychedelic experiences in their youth or, and I mean, this is pre-legalization for sure.
Yeah.
And who are now coming, or are these people who've never had the psychedelic experience or experiencing it for the first time? What's your ratio on something like that?
Great question. It's a great question, Aaron. Yeah, we have about 50% have never touched a psychedelic before.
Okay.
So this will be their first experience ever. About, I'd have to look at the data, but I think about another quarter are kind of in that camp of they did it in their youth.
Yeah.
Haven't touched it for many years, like long enough that it feels like this big, scary, foreign thing again.
Yeah.
And then they want to do it again. But they often reflect very positively on their first experiences when they were, late teens or 20s. And then there's another quarter who are like, wow, this is really very, very helpful for my life. and I just want to incorporate this in some like continuous, I mean, not continuous, but continued way. Like we generally encourage folks to do less, like less is more. But it's also quite rare to meet someone who did this experience once and then will never do it again.
How do you determine when someone signs up for your program, the dosage? Like, do they get to pick? I'm going to microdose. I'm going all, all in. How do you evaluate that? And do they pick? Do you pick?
It's a conversation,
Okay.
but mostly what we don't do is say like, what do you want to do? Okay. Because a lot of people like, if you go to your psychiatrist and you're like, and the person's like, give me 200 milligrams of Zoloft, the psychiatrist is gonna be like, oh, whatever you want, sure.
Right.
So they're looking for guidance and a little bit of help in choosing.
Sure.
We don't do microdoses.
Okay.
So there's like we again as like a more science focused organization, we really try to root a lot of our protocols based on what they do in the scientific literature.
Yeah.
So we have that wealth of knowledge to pull from. We try to make some improvements on it because that's a little bit overly rigid, but our typical dose is pretty much what they do in clinical trials, which is about 25 milligrams, which is roughly 3.5 grams of dry mushrooms. And microdosing, there's not really conclusive science. The scientific community has not endorsed psilocybin or microdosing psilocybin at this point. All the positive research has been about macrodoses. So yeah, then we get into like a conversation. Is 25 the right number?
What would be why would they not sanction microdosing but sanction a much heavier dose for folks? That there's no real benefit to microdosing?
They did sanction it. You can do it. There are places around Oregon where you can go to microdose, but it's almost like an oxymoron because a microdose is technically subperceptual.
Yeah.
So it's like you go and you've done a microdose well if you don't feel anything, and then like James Fadiman, who's like a leading
right.
Do you know James Fadiman?
No.
Okay, well he's really he helped popularize it, and he's like, you know what, you won't feel anything, but by the end of the day you'll feel like that was a really good day, or like the day after the microdose is mysteriously better. So it's all kind of mysterious. So the idea of like flying to Oregon for a subperceptual dose, like it's just like no one's going to spend. Right. I think for if you live in Oregon and there's a local place that does it, if you want to go try it, it's just a very different experience. Like the macrodose is like most people after this, it's something like 85% of people who do this, from at least from our clients, say it's in the top 10 most meaningful experience of their life.
Wow.
So that's no one says that after a microdose.
That's a good line of work.
It's a good, right? Yeah. Yeah.
It beats aerospace.
Thank you.
Engineering.
I had Aaron, I think you give me. After my last job, it was a very cool job. Yeah. We were like filming skiers and snowboarders with drones. So like off the charts cool, but I was like, I think I'll do something more meaningful with my next one. So now
it's hard not to make a lot of jokes though about the fact that it's space and then you're also mushrooms.
Yeah, well, so here's
there's like a creative connection.
Yeah. Well, I went and actually I set this up. This isn't going to be that much of a mic drop moment, but the connector is I went from outer space to inner space.
There you go.
It's good enough.
Yeah, that's good enough. I would want that visually represented.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, what is the next step for you and your company? I mean, where does Odyssey go from here? You're doing these. Are you planning on having retreats in Colorado and in Arizona? Is that a vision for
New
you?
Mexico.
Or New Mexico.
Yeah. We actually did our first one in Colorado last month.
Okay.
So we're the first ones to do the first. We're the first in Oregon, and then to do a retreat in a retreat style, and then the first to do a retreat in Colorado as well. So yeah, my time these days is I'm talking to folks in Colorado and finding the right facilitators and partners there to get it off the ground. And another 2 years after that, hopefully we'll do New Mexico as well. So right now, Oregon is still our primary place. Bend is still our primary place. We are running some retreats around Portland as well. And then we've started to offer one-on-one services as well. So we don't only do these group retreats. We also do one-on-one. So it's like, it's kind of continually doing more retreats, doing new kinds of retreats. Like we're, as someone who's really passionate about Buddhist philosophy and meditation, I've always wanted to do a silent meditation retreat with psilocybin experiences.
Okay.
So we're running the first one of that in September. So we're always doing these new themes, doing more retreats, doing more individual services, kind of improving our offerings, all the wraparound services around it,
Yeah.
and then expanding too.
Maybe explain what what does a retreat look like? Like, I think people understand the psychedelic part of it, but there's more to it. Like, yeah, what does that look like?
Yeah. And it's important to point out
Maybe they
that
understand the psychedelic part of it.
it is pretty hard to fully understand until you're
Right.
there. Like that volunteering experience was like, oh okay. And it gets intense, especially gets intense in the room during it. And our program starts generally about from a couple weeks to a couple months before a retreat starts. So like someone signs up, we take them through a screening process to make sure that they're going to be a good fit. Then they go through a preparation process because really your mindset coming into this experience matters a whole lot. So you want to have a good understanding of what you're getting yourself into, good expectations for like what this experience could or could not do for your life, a handful of kind of mental tools to help navigate the experience, and a general level of comfort with your guide and all the folks that you're doing this with. So we do a lot of work that gets people feeling totally like safe and comfortable for the session itself. Like the psilocybin session itself, it's definitely the main event.
Right.
And then everything else is all supporting. So a lot of work over Zoom ahead of time, group work, individual work, self-guided work,
Wow.
screening. And then when they come, I'll walk you through our flagship retreat. So people will arrive on Thursday. We'll go to the airport. We'll pick them up. We'll go straight to the License Service Center in town. And we'll do a bit of an opening, allow people to see the space, feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then we go to Bend Inner Alchemy, who's one of the License Service Centers in town. The session doesn't take the psilocybin session doesn't take place at that beautiful center. We have to go back and forth. So we go to the License Service Center in town, do an opening, get comfortable with each other and with the space. Go to the retreat center, do a variety of like retreat and preparation programming to get people feeling more comfortable.
Okay.
So you imagine in an evening, shared meals, group exercises, meditation.
And these are with strangers.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, everyone has met each other already over Zoom.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that they're meeting each other in person. So
My comfort level is coming way down the more
Yeah.
you talk about that.
just the number of people that are involved in it.
Strangers.
Yeah.
Psychedelics, but not that I don't trust it, but I'm just being honest.
This is why we started doing one-on-one services as well, because some people are like, why would I do this? But though I would say probably 90% of those people, if they did the group experience, they would be like, I'm so glad I did.
Yeah.
Because like doing this in a retreat format is really a wonderful way to do it. And like people get so close after this, and you get to like be raw and vulnerable and see other people go through this. It's so beautiful and meaningful, and to do that as part of a group is really great. And there a small percent of the time people are like, I wish I did it individual, because the person next to me was like just lose like too much.
All right.
So that does happen too. But yeah, day one is like arrival and landing preparation. Day two we go over to Inner Alchemy and do the group session. And that's, again, we have about 10 participants going, 5 facilitators holding space. And return to the retreat center in the evening. The next day is the integration day. And basically the whole day is if I say the term integration, should I explain what integration means?
Yeah.
I'm so in this world now that I'm assuming people know terms that anyway.
No. Integration means something very different for me and you in this context, I'm sure.
Integration, it's basically, people have these really, some of the experiences are incredibly joyous and loving and beautiful, and sometimes they're very dark and challenging and anxiety provoking. It doesn't matter so much what happens during the journey. What matters is how you feel in the days, weeks, and months after. Okay. And a lot of times people have these really, really challenging experiences that they're like, I never want to do that again, but I'm so glad I did. Yeah. But then you need to make sense of it. You need to figure out like, what did you just experience? What does it mean? What feels different in your life as well? Because if you don't really do anything with the experience, most likely whatever benefits you see will probably fade over the coming months. Yeah. Like you might feel really, really wonderful for a couple weeks, and then it fades. You might also feel really crappy for a few weeks, and then suddenly start to do better. So we encourage folks to not judge. So
do you try to give people action items coming out? Yeah. Yeah. Personal or relational or things like that.
Yeah. So the next day, it's often some mix of like, what was your experience? What did it mean? What were the key themes? What sort of like was it about relationships? Was it about people that showed up in your life? Was it about things that happened to you years ago? Was it about a marriage or divorce? Is it career related? Is it meaning related? So it varies so much from person to person. But commonly people feel closer to nature, closer to with other humans, more full of love, more like themselves. A lot of people are worried about like their personality changing, but invariably they think, oh, I've just become more myself after this. And so then the whole day is spent doing journaling, sharing, time in nature, meals together, guided exercises. And we want to make sure that by the time people leave, they're like, they're feeling empowered to take charge of the next steps. And then we do some work over Zoom in the weeks ahead.
Well, Gabe, we're at the end of our time here.
All right.
The anything that we didn't touch on that you want to let listeners know about?
No, I don't think so. I think we.
How do you
touched
get
on
people to take that first step? I mean, I imagine there's a lot of people listening who are like, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honest, I mean, I really don't try to like push this too much on people. I would say most people who come to us, it's like they've been thinking about it for years.
Yeah.
And I do think it doesn't have to be years before you do this, but usually people at some point feel like, okay, now I think I'm ready. I mean, you don't have to wait until you're like, I'm super ready. I think it's okay to still feel some trepidation.
Yeah.
And then, I would just encourage you to like watch the Netflix docuseries, How to Change Your Mind, see how that feels. And then if you're curious, just book like an exploratory call. I still speak with a bunch of folks. We have a whole team that speaks with folks. Talk to facilitators, see what it's like, read some testimonials, watch some video testimonials, and just like see, is this something that feels exciting? And I would say like probably the biggest group of folks that come to us they've been curious about this for years. They're otherwise like pretty high functioning people, but they've just gone through something like hard in the past 1, 2, 5, 10, 50 years. Like sometimes people like carry things even from childhood.
Sure.
And then, they often already are in therapy. They have a meditation practice. They're doing things, but they could use a little bit of help of like getting unstuck, like getting through that and feeling more connected to themselves, and just more alive and more filled with purpose. So if you're a little bit frustrated with like being at like a crossroads or stuck in something and are curious about this, then it might be time to book an exploratory call.
How do they get in touch with you?
You can go to odysseypbc.com, but I've realized both my last name and the company have spelling problems. No one knows how to spell Odyssey. So it's ODYSSEY PBC, publicbenefitcorporation.com. Or you can just do like Oregon Psychedelic Retreat Odyssey and you'll probably find us.
I think there's a big movie coming out, so maybe people start learning how to spell it once.
There's a big
Damon.
Odyssey. Yeah.
Odyssey's coming.
Yeah.
So.
All right, looking forward to it.
Well, Gabe, thanks for being here with us.
Aaron, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. This has been the Bend Don't Break podcast. If you like what you heard, go to our website and click on the member button and help donate and support more conversations like this where Gabe can come on and rock our world.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron.
You've been listening to the Bend Don't Break podcast powered by The Source Weekly. To read, hear, and see more of what we do, go to bensource.com.